What's up, everybody? It's another Keymaker Nation podcast with your host, Bradley G. Smith, and let's get started. You wake up, drive 30 minutes to work as an employee at your 9 to 5, which you hate, and all you can think about at work is providing for your family, starting your business, moving it forward, changing the world, and in the process, living the life of freedom and fulfillment you've always imagined. This podcast helps you transition from employee to entrepreneur. My name is Bradley G. Smith, and welcome to the Keymaker Nation podcast. So for today's podcast episode, guys, I thought I would cover sort of the current state of my business and the current state of just online marketing in general, and what I'm seeing, and sort of I've already talked about in one of my recent episodes. I just talked about who I was following, and I'm following more than the people that I mentioned related to. I mentioned several people who are building communities, and I sort of use those as examples for why I created Keymaker Nation. But I also am have just gotten back into online marketing and trying to run my business myself. Basically, I'm currently a solopreneur. I've always sort of been a hustler, but more on the hacker side of things, and mainly just increasing my skill set with software development over the years. And I sort of saw it as a need early on, and roughly 2005 is when I started, and I've just been building software for a long time. But as I mentioned recently, I saw the need in myself to go ahead and sort of take on the archetype of the hustler as well, and figure out what that means for me. And I've seen some good examples recently of guys who are running small, anywhere from solopreneurs to medium-sized businesses. Solopreneur, entrepreneurs, small business and medium-sized business is sort of how I'm thinking of the progression that I've seen that are doing a good job, and really about all they have is somebody who can do their design work. And so I've just been following several people who are doing this well, and I'm seeing sort of for myself, well, since I just jumped back in, and let's, I guess, get into why I jumped back in. So as I mentioned in one of my previous episodes as well, I am also partners with a couple of other guys in another business venture where we've built an arcade game, and that game has seen relatively good success in the arcade market, but not quite as much as not quite as fast as I'm hoping for it to see. And we still have, we still have that business running, and we're hopefully going to see some more good returns on our labor that we've been putting into. It's a game that we've been working on since, I think it's been about 2012 at this point. But then recently, over the last 5 or so years, I had 3 kids, and so my son is the oldest. He's 5, and then I've got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. And so yeah, I'm sort of I'm just now coming out of the fog of having our last kid, and so I explained this to somebody the other day. I said, you remember how it felt when you had your first kid and you could barely get any sleep because you're sort of checking on them at all hours of the night? And I said, well, that kind of continues even longer than you normally think it would, and multiply that times about 3, and now you're at where I'm at. So I feel like I've been in this fog for about the last 5 years in getting our kids and helping them grow up. But I feel like I'm sort of coming out of it. And during that whole time, though, we were working on our arcade game. And now that I have a little bit more free time, since my kids are just about at the point where they don't require like complete focus all the time, I feel like I've got a little bit more flexibility to work on some other things, and that's sort of where I am at right now. And so getting into this current state of things, like what does the market hold for someone who is really, you know, since I have a day job, a 9-to-5, I'm a software engineer, but since I have that, and I'm trying to figure out how can I earn money on the side, like a side hustle, or just have a business that does really well and takes off. Well, where do you jump in at, right? Because I'm at the really like beginning of the phase, doing it all by myself with this business. And so I'm sort of at the solopreneur phase, which means I'm basically doing everything. I'm doing design work. If I have any software work or technical work, I'm doing that. If I have any selling work, I do that. So I'm sort of wearing all hats right now. And so I've seen some people who are doing it well, and I think where it's different now than it was in the past is that I would just come up with an idea in the past and try to execute on it, and I would take it about 70 or 80%, and then I would just drop the ball. I would either lose interest in the project, or I would have a roadblock that I couldn't overcome, whether it's you know, physically or mentally or subconsciously, and then I would move on to the next project. But I have learned a lot in that process. But my point is, the difference between now and then is that now I'm really trying to pay attention to people who are having success in the specific marketing arena that I want to get into. And a lot of that, like I said in a couple of recent episodes, is related to paid advertising. And some of that is affiliate marketing and doing referrals, you know, making commissions from doing referrals to other businesses, selling other businesses products. But some of it is also trying to figure out how I can transition from that and get into my own products and eventually be selling my own products. And that could be in the form of a course, or that could be in the form of consulting work, so basically agency work for a business. And I have some experience with that in a couple of my past jobs. So that's all on the table, and I'm sort of trying to take things off the table and figure out what is my most, you know, the thing that I want to focus on the most. And so where I'm at right now, I'm currently I've currently stumbled across, fortunately for me, so I have a brother-in-law who's a financial planner, and I sort of wanted to figure out how I could help him drive leads and get conversions and sales. And so in the process of trying to, you know, admit to myself that I don't have all the answers, and searching for better ways to do marketing and drive leads online, I came across Russell Brunson and ClickFunnels. And this isn't me trying to pitch you on ClickFunnels, but I am in the middle of launching a funnel that I've put a lot of work into, and I've recorded hours and hours and hours of videos. So basically it's a course, and I am probably about 60% of the way through launching this course. And this is all in my spare time. This is you know, the time that I have between the time the kids go to bed at night and by the time I fall asleep. And a lot of times that's till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Not exactly fun, because my body's telling me I need to go to sleep sooner, but my point is, that's sort of where I'm at. I'm in the solopreneur hustle phase, where I've trying to figure out how to do funnels correctly and launch my own funnel, and in a particular niche. And so yeah, that's the current state of where I'm at. I want to get into the point where I'm using paid advertising to push potential leads and clients to my funnels. And so I've seen some really good examples of that, and I've seen some really good examples of people who are doing referral marketing really well. And so yeah, that's kind of the state of things, and that's kind of the state of where I'm at and the trends that I've seen. I basically have seen to wrap it up here, I've basically seen some good examples of how a solopreneur / entrepreneur can sell other people's products, and while they're trying to figure out how they can build their own products. And then so that's sort of, I think, my path is I'm going to be working on referral marketing and doing it correctly. And then I'm also going to be building my own products, and eventually and potentially helping other customers and clients do this with their own businesses. So specifically in the advertising arena, I think I'd like to get into Facebook and Google Ads, and I've held certifications in Google Ads in the past, formerly AdWords, but yeah, so there might be some agency work in there as well. So yeah, guys, that's sort of where I'm at. I'm glad that you guys stayed with me. I know this was a little bit longer than the most recent episodes that I put together, but I'm really excited to be sharing this with you guys, and I hope you guys can come along with me and also share your experiences. So I will see you guys in the next episode. Hey guys, don't forget to join me in the Keymaker Nation private Facebook group. If you're listening to the podcast via iTunes, please rate and review. And if you're listening via YouTube, don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe. And as always, thanks for listening.